Hey guys, Alex here. Welcome to Momentum Charting. If you're new here, welcome. Please go down and subscribe to the channel. That will assure that you get all the latest updates on AEHR test systems, as well as all your other favorite charts and stocks in the market, broad market, VIX, QQQ, SPY, everything in between. Some really exciting stuff coming up here in the broad markets over the next couple of weeks. So make sure you are subscribed down below. Thank you for that. Glad to have you here. Let's go ahead and dive into the chart of AEHR. I was struggling a little bit with the daily time frame, to be honest. So normally we start with the daily, which encapsulates most of the important trend lines to me. But here in AEHR, we are on a stock that has basically been in a range of about $10 for the better part of almost 24, 25 years now. So I was really struggling to find daily trend lines that made a lot of sense. And in that capacity, that does sort of align with the fact it's been stuck in such a narrow range for such a long period of time. It's got these just brutal, violent, choppy moves up and down between this range. So finding, daily trend line, I struggled with that a little bit. And I do have marked here a potential weekly trend line coming all the way at this top around $11 from 2008, believe it or not, over a decade. And we came down here on March of 2017. I just followed that trend line here, and I just found that interesting that there was actually another touch point on the most recent weekly candle here in July 21, and got rejected hard off that. So I don't know if that's for sure a trend line we can count on, but I just found that very, very interesting. Why did it pick exactly that point to wick off of? So I found that interesting, so continued to kind of watch that. If we can break out on the weekly out of this potential downward sloping trend line of resistance, that would be interesting and potentially start setting us up for moves higher into this long sideways channel that's developed in AEHR test systems. So continue to watch that. Then on the daily, you can see here on the daily what I was talking about. It's just kind of a mess here. We broke out of this downward sloping daily trend line since 2017 and sort of have formed a little bit of support here. So that's kind of what I'm seeing now. Right above around $2. Looks like we have a strong area of support, and appears that we have potentially a nice upward sloping daily trend line here established on November 2020, and another touch point here in May and also in late May. So that's kind of what we're working with here, a strong confluence of support above the $2 range. And to me, if we can continue on AEHR in this range here, continue with this upward sloping resistance, and eventually break out of this zone, which right now sits at around 390, and later in the year, early next year, will be a little bit lower, around 370, 373. If we can continue and potentially break out of that range, I think that would set us up nicely for continued higher movement into this long-standing sideways channel of price, again, since the early 2000s and late 90s. So it's been a long period here of just choppy sideways action on AEHR, and it's going to take something pretty special as far as I'm concerned to break this $11 level, but you never know. Looking here at the weekly momentum chart, positive on the positive side on a weekly time frame on AEHR, we did break above this zone here, which was established earlier in the year on the most recent weekly momentum bubble. So default momentum, yes, right now to the upside, but looking here again, we had a very similar setup here in, let's see, February of 2017. You can see here we came up, broke back, and then broke back above the resistance line here in February 21st, 2017, and let's just look at what happened with price after that breakout occurred. So we were at 466 on that point, and just over the next couple weeks, next couple months, yes, price did top out at 611, which, what is that, 20% gain, which is pretty nice, but for the most part, just sort of popped up slightly and trended sideways, and then eventually returned back into lower price levels. So is something like that, similar to that, going to happen here? I don't know, but to me, yes, default price action is to the upside, but maybe tempered quite a bit, just judging by what's happened in the past on these weekly momentum breakouts. Nothing super exciting in AEHR, and nothing really awful either. So we kind of just exercise patience here on AEHR. We did get that nice upside pop on the 16th, but did get some sell-off and profit taking during the day. Big volume came in, 78 million, almost 80 million in volume, which is massive volume for AEHR. So some things to watch for moving forward, but I would really watch for, you know, the kind of slowing of momentum here, and see what happens with this over the next few days. I'll just go down to the 1 hour lastly and just show you this. It appears that after that big spike in price we got during the day on the 16th, that this 1 hour momentum here is waning a little bit, and we appear to have broken back to the downside a little bit. So to me, what would be the best thing to happen would be a breakdown and then a reestablishing of a reset of momentum around these zones of 0.45, 0.46 to potentially bring us up to another higher level in momentum and break back to the upside in price. So yeah, it just kind of a slow roll on this chart of AEHR. Going to have to watch carefully to see how this develops. Watch this weekly momentum to see if we really can get strong breaks back above these levels here. Would be something interesting for me to pay attention to around 545. And again, on this long down sloping line of resistance, yeah, breaking anywhere above these levels to me would potentially be significant, especially if we were able to hold this upward trend line on the daily and break out here. And like I said, around 545, 550. So this would be the target to me, breaking above these lines, and then this would be a very strong point of resistance on the chart of AEHR. So we'll have to watch for that moving forward. So yeah, interesting chart, but the fact remains that we have been encapsulated in this sideways moving channel for a long period of time. So in order for that to change, to me, would take something spectacular on the news front in AEHR. Doesn't mean that can't happen, but kind of the enthusiasm we're going to need to be tempered a little bit until we see a strong upward movement in AEHR on both price and continued upward movement on the weekly momentum that is meaningful, instead of just what we got here in 2017, where we got this breakout and just started getting these wicks up in these zones just slightly above where we broke out from. So continue to watch the channel for updates on AEHR plus all your favorite stocks in the market. I'm so glad you could be here for this update. Once again, make sure you subscribe for all updates, exciting stuff coming on in the broader markets over the next couple of weeks, next couple of months. Really exciting stuff with increased volatility. You're going to want to stay subscribed for all the updates on everything. And again, thank you so much for being here in this video. Thank you for subscribing. I will see you all again very, very shortly in the next update video, and bye for now.